The refugees watched, their faces pressed against the viewports, as reality itself seemed to tear open. One by one, colossal shapes emerged from the shimmering distortions of hyperspace. They weren't just ships. They were mobile planets, city-sized behemoths of dark metal and glowing lights. A captain on a refugee vessel whispered, "They look like flying worlds." A wave of fear rippled through the crowded corridors. Could these giants be another enemy? The refugee admiral, however, looked on in awe. "Friends?" he broadcasted fleet-wide, his voice thick with emotion. "You could park our largest warship in one of their hangar bays and still have room to land a squadron of fighters around it." On the bridge of the flagship, the Earth Fleet's admiral stood firm. "Sit rep now," he commanded. His XO's voice was crisp. "All ships accounted for, sir. Minor damage to some navigational arrays during the jump. Get them fixed," the admiral ordered. "We might need to leave in a hurry." "Yes, sir." The XO replied, already relaying the command. Hope had arrived, but the danger was far from over. The admiral looked at the captain, a knowing glance passing between them. "Okay, let's make first contact," he said, his voice firm. The captain smirked and nodded. "Comms, open a channel to Explorer 1. All frequencies." The comms officer confirmed. "Sir, comms are open." The admiral leaned forward. "To the humans aboard the automated ship Explorer 1, I am Admiral McCollum of the Earth Fleet. We mean you no harm. We are here to make first contact." He paused, then added, "You can speak openly. We can hear you." A new voice, filled with relief, came through the speakers. "Admiral, I want to extend my deepest appreciation to you and your people. I wasn't sure how much longer we could have continued. It was pure luck you ran into one of our automated explorers," Admiral McCollum replied. "When can we meet?" The refugee admiral asked, his voice filled with hope. "We need to review your medical data first, but we could potentially meet as early as tomorrow." They both agreed, and the comms channel closed, leaving a profound silence on the bridge. A tense summons crackled through the comms. The fleet admiral needed to see the lead doctor and his team, and he needed to see them now. On the flagship, they were to review all medical findings. The doctor acknowledged, explaining it would take a few hours to gather his people and make the journey. The admiral simply said, "Make it happen." Hours later, the medical team arrived, their footsteps echoing as they marched directly to the bridge conference room. The admiral was waiting, his face a grim mask. He didn't waste time on pleasantries. Could a common cold from either of our species create some kind of supervirus? He asked, his eyes boring into them. The lead doctor hesitated. We don't think so." The admiral's gaze hardened. "You don't think so?" He slammed his hand on the conference table, the sound ricocheting through the silent room. "That's not good enough. We need a definitive yes or no, not what your gut says. If we mix these illnesses and create a superbug, you all know what that means." The medical team either nodded in grim agreement or muttered, "Yes, we know." The admiral slammed his fist on the table. "Damn it, find out what can happen. If these illnesses can combine, these people can never be integrated into Earth's population. We'll have to find them another planet or lock them away in a space colony." The lead doctor stood up. "Admiral, with all due respect, the medical corps doesn't take orders from the military. We answer to the council." The admiral paused, his steely eyes locking onto the doctor with a cold, hard stare. "I know," he said, his voice dangerously low. "But this piece of paper from the council says you do today." He slammed the document down. The doctor snatched it up and began to read. When he finished, he set the paper down. "Yes, Admiral, we'll need more time to review everything and input the data. Give us 48 hours, and we'll have answers." The admiral's voice was dangerously low. "DOCTOR, you've had months to do this. I received this same information while we were in jump space. Why didn't you do this on the way here?" The doctor and his team had no good explanation. The Admiral's gaze swept over them, hard as steel. "You have 48 hours. I don't care if you have to stay up the entire time. There are people out there looking for allies, for help. Damn it, get your butts in gear and figure this out." They were shocked, looking down in shame or just nodding. The Admiral swiveled his chair away, staring into the void of space. After a tense minute, he spoke without turning. "You are wasting time. You are dismissed. Now, get out." As soon as the meeting ended, everyone scrambled for their things and shot out of the conference room. The captain and the XO, who had been standing there the whole time, watched them go. The captain turned to the Admiral. "Sir, do you really think they'll get it done in 48 hours? The Admiral swiveled his chair, a small smirk on his face. "Captain, I'd bet they'll have it figured out in 24. That's what happens when you're truly driven." The XO chuckled. "It's not always about putting the fear of God into someone to make them productive." "Exactly," the Admiral nodded. "Those lab coats will figure it out. Meanwhile, we have a bigger challenge. Thousands of people experiencing a massive culture shock. Some will never accept what we're offering. They'll want to cling to their old ways. It's going to be a long, hard road, but I believe they can do it, especially once they see our way of life." The conference room doors slid open, and we stepped onto the bridge. The Admiral settled into his command chair, while the captain and I did a final walkthrough, a pointless ritual just to burn off the nervous energy. 8 hours. 8 agonizing hours ticked by. Then the call came. It was medical. "Admiral," the chief medical officer began, "we had to link every quantum computer in the fleet to run the pathogen simulations, ... The Admiral, ever direct, cut him off. "Doctor, what did you find?" A pause stretched across the comms, feeling like an eternity. "Sir," the doctor finally said, "there is no demonstrable biological issue. Our species can coexist." The Admiral's voice was firm. "Is that your official report?" "Yes, sir, it is." "Good," the Admiral replied. "Then you'll accompany us to Explorer One tomorrow as an official delegate." The doctor was speechless. "Thank you, sir. I would be honored." The Admiral cut the channel and turned to the comms officer. "Open a channel to Explorer One. All frequencies." A moment later, "Your live, sir." The Admiral stood, his voice echoing across the stars. "Explorer One, this is the Admiral of the Earth Fleet." A historic conversation began, culminating in a simple, universe-altering statement. "We will meet tomorrow." Our medical teams have given the all-clear. There are no biological barriers preventing us from integrating with the crew of the Explorer One. As you can imagine, the news was met with sheer delight and excitement on their end. After a few more minutes of discussion, the Admiral cut the transmission. He then stood, announced he was retiring to his quarters for the evening, and with a nod from the captain, he departed the bridge. A couple of hours later, the junior command staff arrived to take over the watch, as the captain and XO also called it a night. The next morning, the command staff, accompanied by a few Marine guards, boarded a shuttle bound for the Explorer One. As the shuttle docked and its doors hissed open, they were greeted by hundreds of people, all staring in utter astonishment. The sight of other humans, in flesh and blood, was truly otherworldly for them. Our Admiral was the first to step onto their deck, extending his hand to their leader and introducing himself. "Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Admiral Thomas, and this is Captain Nicholas, and his XO, Carson. And of course, our lead doctor, Clark, the other Admiral." Admiral Brooks introduced his own team, Captain Adrian and Dr. Noah. The atmosphere was surprisingly light, full of handshakes and smiles. It was a rare moment of genuine warmth in these dark times. As we all walked into the mess hall, The refugees erupted in a massive cheer. Seeing them, you could feel the shift in the air. Hope had arrived. These people, who had endured so much, now had a fighting chance. They'd even formed a makeshift civilian government. I asked where their president was, and the joy in the room vanished. Admiral Brooks explained solemnly that she had died in the last attack. Her ship took a direct hit, and she was lost to blunt force trauma and internal bleeding. A hero's end, but a tragic loss nonetheless. Admiral Thomas nodded, his eyes sweeping over the solemn faces in the room. "From what I can see," he said, his voice full of respect, "she must have been an amazing woman." Heads nodded in agreement around him. Admiral Brooks added, "She was one of the main people who kept this refugee fleet together for 10 long years." Thomas's eyebrows shot up in amazement. "You kept a civilian fleet together for that long? That's incredible leadership." He then broke into a warm smile. "Now, let's get down to business. Who wants to get off this ship?" The room erupted in cheers. "All right, then," Thomas announced. "Grab your personal belongings, and we'll head to my flagship, the Hades." Excitement buzzed through the air as everyone rushed to their quarters, hastily gathering their possessions before returning to the shuttle airlocks. "Okay, everyone," the Admiral's calm voice cut through the commotion. "We have more shuttles docking all along this corridor. There's plenty of room, so no need to push. All right, everyone, walk patiently towards the shuttle. Our Marines are here to help you board, and I promise no one will be left behind." While the command staff and civilian leaders head back to the Admiral, it's going to take a few hours to get all these shuttles over to the battleship Hades. From there, the fleet will move closer to Earth, where we'll rendezvous with a luxury liner to complete our journey home. Just as the transfer was underway, the enemy fleet reappeared. The Admiral immediately called for battle stations, ordering all ships to cover the shuttles still in transit. With people still stranded on Explorer 1, the fleet formed a protective shield around the Hades and the vulnerable shuttles. The Admiral's final command was for Explorer 1 to jump away, straight to the luxury liner. The AI confirmed the order, and in a flash, it was gone. What a cliffhanger. If you want to see what happens next, the first contact was made by our 2 battle carriers. You have to picture these things. They're not just ships. They're massive, lumbering beasts bristling with cannons and loaded with battle wings for good measure. The enemy warped in with a fleet of 10 ships, thinking they had the numbers. But our carriers just opened up, and the sheer firepower was overwhelming. In a matter of minutes, all 10 enemy ships were reduced to space dust. Our main battle line didn't even have to fire a shot. They just formed an impenetrable wall, a silent testament to our strength. Once the combat shuttles were safely docked, the Admiral gave the order to jump to the luxury liner's coordinates. Now comes the part he hates the most: the politics, the negotiations, and all the headaches that come with being in command. It's not all glorious battles, you know. 3 long months of travel, and finally we've arrived. The Hades is docking with the luxury liner, our new home for the next 2 years as we journey to Earth. And what a home it is. Forget cramped quarters. We're talking luxury suites, swimming pools, even an artificial sun shining down on green grass and trees. This is space travel done right. The fleet will escort us, and along the way, we'll learn all about Earth's history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. As we dropped out of hyperspace to recalibrate for the next jump, a voice shattered the calm. "Sir ... contact. We have contact." The captain demanded an identification. The reply sent a chill through the entire bridge. It was the same enemy fleet we'd fought before. The Admiral's voice boomed. "Battle stations." Klaxons wailed and chaos erupted, but this time it was different. Thousands of confused, terrified civilians were caught in the middle of it all. "Sir, 42 contacts just appeared on scanner." The officer's voice was tense. The Admiral simply smirked. Ah, finally, a challenge. His command was swift and clear. Comes, tell the Bull Valley, Saratoga, and the Yellowstone to move into position. Defensive posture, weapons free. As the massive battleships began to shift, the enemy fleet opened fire. A storm of light and energy streaking across the void. The Bull Valley, still maneuvering, returned fire, unleashing 80 massive broadside shots. Some found their mark on enemy hulls, while others brilliantly intercepted inbound missiles. It was synchronized chaos. The enemy, all 40 of them, tried to overwhelm the battleships. They quickly discovered that was a bad idea. In a breathtaking display of power, the 3 Allied ships, now in perfect formation, released a synchronized salvo of 240 shots, a wave of pure destruction, aimed right at the heart of the enemy. The chaos was beautiful. As the enemy fleet scattered, their discipline shattered, they turned all their firepower onto the Bull Valley. Hundreds of missiles streaked through the void, a storm of fire and steel. Explosions ripped across its hull, a mighty ship shuddering under the onslaught. "Get the Bull Valley out of the line," the admiral commanded. "Situation report now." The reply came back, strained but steady. "Minor hull damage, Admiral. Some explosive decompression. Damage control is on it." The admiral pressed. "Can you take the 5,000 civilians and make the jump to the rendezvous?" A pause. "Negative, Admiral. With this damage, we can't risk it." "Understood. Jump to the rendezvous point alone." The admiral then turned his attention elsewhere. "Medical frigate, rendezvous with the Hades, take on the refugees, and then jump to the rendezvous point." The frigate's captain acknowledged, and the ship began its ascent toward the crippled Hades. The admiral's voice echoed through the bridge. "Get those civilians to safety." Within minutes, the medical frigate docked with the Hades. A stream of people rushed aboard, carrying what little they could. Once the last civilian was clear, the frigate broke away, vanishing into hyperspace toward the rendezvous point. The fight was on. Klaxons blared as the XO yelled, "Battle stations!" The admiral's command was ice cold, weapons free. We were positioned above the fray. "Hard right yaw," the captain ordered, bringing our broadside cannons to bear. Fire! All 80 cannons roared to life, a wave of destruction that vaporized 2 enemy ships. The resulting explosions shredded a third. "Keep it up," the captain urged. Another volley tore through the enemy lines, crippling one ship and obliterating another. Suddenly, the scanning officer shouted, "Sir, they're bugging out." One by one, the enemy ships jumped away. With the battle over, the admiral ordered a fleet-wide situation report. As each ship checked in, only one battleship was seriously damaged, struggling with engine problems. The admiral immediately ordered a nearby supply vessel to tug the crippled ship to the rendezvous point. The remaining battleships were in good condition. "So we have 8 battleships and 2 battle carriers left," the captain smirked. "Good odds for anyone." The admiral smiled back. "Oh, yes, sir." He then complimented the captain for his decisive action in driving the enemy away. "Thank you, Admiral," the captain replied. "But I'd like to know how they found us." "That wasn't random chance." The admiral agreed. They couldn't risk leading these hostiles to Earth. A spy vessel must be trailing them. Before they could make another move, they had to find it. The captain was adamant. He doesn't want those freaks to know where Earth is. The admiral nodded in grim agreement, ordering all ships to rendezvous at a secure, undisclosed coordinate. One by one, the vessels vanished into the black, executing precise hyperspace jumps. Once gathered, the admiral convened his command staff. "How did they find us?" he demanded. "We're a needle in a cosmic haystack. The odds are too astronomical for it to be random." His captains could only agree. The admiral's gaze swept across them, his voice low and serious. "Stay vigilant. Report anything, no matter how small, that seems out of the ordinary. With that, they were dismissed. The fleet waited in silent readiness for days, a baited trap, but the enemy never returned. Hesitantly, the admiral granted the next jump. 5 battleships went first, securing the arrival point. The rest followed, with the flagship Hades jumping last, the admiral watching until every ship was accounted for. "Sir, contact. 50 heavy inbound." The scanning officer yelled, his voice tight with panic. The crew was still prepping the jump coordinates. "How long till we jump?" The captain barked, his eyes fixed on the view screen. 10 minutes, sir." Navigation replied. 10 minutes, an eternity. The captain's gaze shifted to the admiral and his XO. "They'll be on us in 3. The XO stepped forward, his jaw set. "Then we fight. We'll buy navigation the time they need." The captain nodded grimly. "Battle stations." Klaxons blared as the crew scrambled. "Weapons free. Broadside first. Yaw the ship to the left and fire at will." The massive vessel groaned as it turned, its cannons unleashing a furious barrage. "Melt those barrels." The admiral roared with a wild chuckle. The enemy ships were pulverized before they could even return fire. The admiral grinned, a dangerous glint in his eye. "Captain," he said, "is it time we showed them our new torpedoes?" "I was hoping you'd say that." The captain's fingers snapped. "Weapons, prep 2 quantum torpedoes. Let's send them a message." The weapons officer granted the request. A few tense moments later, the silo doors hissed open. "Launch!" The torpedoes streaked away, diving into the enemy pack and detonating with unimaginable force. The blast waves slammed into the Hades, throwing the massive ship onto its side. Relays blew, and the jump drive sputtered offline. "Sick rep," the XO screamed. Reports flooded the bridge. Minor damage, but the jump drive was down. "Enemy position?" the captain demanded. Scanners were useless, blinded by interference. "Launch the fighters. I want eyes out there." 2 squadrons launched, rocketing towards the last known enemy coordinates. The flight leader's voice crackled over the comms, filled with confusion. "Sir, there's nothing here. Just cosmic dust. No debris, no wreckage, nothing." The captain's jaw tightened. "Return to the ship. Engineering, get that jump drive back online now." Several light years out, our fleet saw it, a brilliant blue flash lighting up the void. The immediate thought was supernova. Everyone braced for the shock wave. Shields were raised and engines were on standby. But the wave never came. It just dissipated into nothing. That's when a scanning officer on the Yellowstone had a chilling realization. He remembered that exact spot. He had noted earlier that the Hades, one of our heavy cruisers, had never made the jump with the rest of us. A cold fear gripped the bridge. Did the Hades just blow up? Without a second thought, the Yellowstone's captain ordered a jump back, leaving the fleet behind. We had to know. We arrived to find the Hades, intact but adrift in a cloud of fine dust. Contact was made immediately. "Hades, what happened?" Their captain's voice came back, calm but tired. "Enemy contact. We deployed the new quantum torpedoes." The dust was all that remained of the enemy fleet. The blast had also knocked out their jump computer. They didn't need repairs, just a guardian while they got back online. We are that guardian. The Yellowstone maintained a high orbit, a silent guardian over the wounded Hades. Down below, repair crews worked frantically for hours. Finally, the good news came. The jump drive was back online. With calculations double-checked, the Hades signaled its readiness. Both ships initiated the jump sequence, a cascade of light and distorted space. The Yellowstone emerged back with the fleet. A successful return, but they were alone. The Hades was gone. Panic rippled through the fleet's comm channels. "Where is the Hades?" The Yellowstone's captain could only recount the events, his voice strained with confusion. They jumped together. They should be here. Immediately, the Saratoga and Yellowstone spun up their drives, jumping back to the last known coordinates. The search began. Meanwhile, the council received the grim news. They were speechless, but their orders were clear. Find the Hades. Another fleet, equipped with science vessels, was already being dispatched. No one was coming home until the mystery of the missing ship was solved. The captain of the Bull Valley acknowledged the council's decision. He had asked if the 2 remaining battleships and the luxury liner could return to Earth, but the council refused. They were more concerned with how this unknown alien race had managed to locate the fleet in the first place. Their fear was that returning to Earth would inadvertently lead this new threat straight to humanity's doorstep. We simply don't know the size or the true intentions of this force. Reluctantly, the captain agreed. The plan was to hold their position until the new fleet arrived, where they could determine the fate of the Hades. Meanwhile, chaos erupted on the luxury liner. Civilians, panicked and terrified, questioned if they would ever be free of this alien menace or ever see Earth again. The captain had to intervene, broadcasting a fleet-wide message. He promised them they were safe and that they would reach home. This was just a small bump in the road to salvation. He assured them the new fleet was already on its way.